In this video, we're going to talk about something that only the top 1% of Halo players can do, and if you never learn how to do this, you will never be a top Halo player. But it's never been easier to climb to ONYX with our brand new Get Good 50% off sale. For a limited time, you can get access to in-depth pro guides, advanced breakdowns, and mechanical courses. We have everything you need to easily climb to ONYX, and right now, at that 50% off Get Good sale, you're going to be able to do that at a fraction of the price. Do yourself a favor and go check it out right now down below. Now, have you ever sat down and watched any pro player play Halo Infinite for a substantial amount of time, whether it's on stream or in any situation? In some games, they'll start off the game doing pretty poorly. They might get caught out, they might get killed, or they just get rolled and smoked right off the bat. However, at the end of the game, they're always at the top of the leaderboard every single time. No matter how the game starts, it doesn't matter. They're always able to pull it back and consistently come out ahead. And you might be saying, oh, obviously they're gonna come out ahead, they're pro players. However, most of the time in your games or in any comp game that players consistently play, the beginning of a match can really dictate how the game ends. If the game starts off really bad, even in your mind, you're thinking, damn, this is gonna be another loss. Now, here's the ultimate thing that you need to understand. While a regular player might eventually learn from the mistakes and learn from the play patterns of things in a game over a long period of time, pro players and incredibly high-level players will actually adapt on the fly. And the way in which they challenge and play things will directly change dependent on what their enemy is doing. Ultimately, what this comes down to is confidence in themselves. There's no mechanical gap that they can't overcome. Every game is winnable no matter how it initially starts. So even if things go bad, even if everything is working against you and the enemy already has a big advantage right off the bat, basically pros think about the game more like a puzzle that they need to solve. If something is not working, they will fish from a different angle, poking and prodding. Basically every single situation in which they try to make a play that doesn't go right, they immediately take that information and carry it to the instant next engagement. Almost never will you see a pro player consistently make the same mistakes against the same opponents every single round after round, because they are constantly learning and adapting from the situations that are being presented to them in the battlefield in real time. This can really come down to gathering information because it can directly change how you're going to play an engagement. For instance, understanding how good mechanically your enemies are and respecting them appropriately without being scared of them. Realizing what an enemy favors and how they play. Are they as a team going to constantly be playing these corners to catch people off? Are they rotating as a team? Are they controlling the high ground? How are they playing, and in what way can you challenge that play style? And sometimes it's going to come down to multiple instances of trial and error throughout the course of a game. Maybe they're all stacking in tower, holding the oddball there. What is a way in which you can actually clear them out and do it safely? Maybe it's waiting for certain weapons to spawn or certain items, flushing them out with grenades, challenging them with a mangler or a heat wave, and the list goes on. And when you try to take a game plan and you actually utilize that game plan to go accomplish something, if it doesn't work, you have to be brutally honest why that was. Was your game plan just bad from the get-go? Did the enemy do something really interesting in order to counteract your push? And for your next push, keep that counter in mind. Maybe the game plan was actually flawless, but your mechanical skill actually failed you when you needed to deliver at the very end. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is make small adaptations to your play within your skill set in the game to give yourself the best shot at victory. And oftentimes, this is how a pro player will actually go above and beyond their peak when in a really high tense situation. Most of us think that if we're in our truly highest tense situation, when we're truly under pressure, we're gonna play worse than normal. We're gonna play far worse than normal, but we see this consistently where top level pros actually manage to pull off the craziest thing that they never were able to even pull off in scrims or in casual or even just ranked play, but then they pulled off this crazy thing in pro play. And it's because they are constantly trying to push the bounds of what they can accomplish, and they're constantly trying to refine their skill and what they can accomplish within the game up against other skilled enemies as well. Now you might be asking, okay, this is really cool that the top 1% of players can do this, but how can you learn how to do this? What is the secret to incorporating this into your own gameplay? And really, it comes down to actually removing yourself from just your rank, trying to climb, trying to get whatever high rank you want, and instead being better and playing things better. In a specific fight, you need to be analyzing how you played that fight. Regardless of whether you won or lost the fight, could you have played it better? Could a better player have punished you? And is there something that you can take away from that fight that you might use in a future one? This is a way in which you find the optimal way to challenge fights, the optimal way to play and fight engagements. When something goes perfectly, like you think about a game plan in your head, whether it's an aggressive game plan or an outplay with a thruster or whatever the case may be, and you think about it and imagine it, and then you go up against an enemy and you pull it off perfectly, that needs to be something that you take a mental note of, as in, you pulled that off perfectly in this situation. So now, because it was theorized and then used in application, now it will be something that I should also try to utilize in the future. And this is one of the best ways in order to become a much more critical player in Halo, rather than someone that just relies only on instinct. There'll be situations where your instinct's gonna fail you. You try to just default to your normal play patterns, and an enemy just, comes up with a counter strat, or you hit a brick wall because the enemy is working together, or whatever the case may be. But incorporating this strategy basically gives yourself the best chance to find that value and still dominate your games consistently. And you're actually going to be pushing yourself to higher peaks and higher heights by constantly trying to improvise and learn from your own playmaking strategies and what works and what doesn't. Don't forget to capitalize on this limited time opportunity for 50% off your GameLeap premium subscription, access to all the advanced guides, pro courses, and so much more. Use code GETGOOD at the GameLeap checkout for 50% off your order, and don't miss out right now before it's too late down below.